everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're all doing well. We're going to be talking about quite a few things tonight. A few bits of news coming out of Manchester United. Obviously, the title says Harry Kane would be perfect for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think with Harry Kane hinting at a move and clearly not going to get at Spurs what he wants, which is titles and trophies, would Solskjaer be interested in this? Yes. And why would Solskjaer be so interested in Harry Kane if Harry Kane made it obvious that he wanted to come to Manchester United? Think Van Persie forcing a move from Arsenal. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll also be talking about Rashford, Solskjaers, player wages. What's that one as well? Dwight McNeil. Very interesting story about Dwight McNeil as well of Burnley. But look, some breaking news really in the last hour. Quite topical news as well. We know there's no football at the moment. We know that footballers are in isolation and they're not training at the moment. So how interesting is it then to see that with regards to Borussia Dortmund, they have been back in training today. Back in training today, Borussia Dortmund. And no word, no lie, there's pictures of them in training, Erling Haaland, etc. Back in training today on a football pitch, Borussia Dortmund. Not training collectively together in pairs, in twos, but back training. And Germany is a country that is gripped by this virus, much the same as the UK. Footballers back in training. What are your thoughts about that? Connor Leo7494 says, "Hi Mark, I saw a stat about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that they have the worst win percentage out of all 5 major leagues in America. They're owned by the Glazers." Yes, they are. And Sean C. really enjoyed the shows with Saeed and Ricky. Any plans for future guests like Aaron, Adam or Sander? We have got future guests lined up, yes. So there's the answer to that. And we've got some future shows coming up tomorrow. Flex and Rant show tomorrow is live at 1 o'clock for the first time ever. That's going to be a live show, and we've got lots of things planned, so that's great. But no, look, I'm going to talk about Harry Kane, but what do you think about that? I mean, look, Wesley Sandovi says, "Give it up, mate. Football is not coming back until September." As about shut up, mate. This is about opinion. That's what we do on here. I'm not driving getting football back. I just think the football season should be completed. I know people who've got relatives who've died from this. So don't come at me telling me I want football being played again, because you'll get a mouthful back. I'm not saying that. I've never said that. I've said I want football back when it's safe. So don't be such a twat about something that's very, very serious. Like, some people are not being doom merchants and saying void the season with absolutely no brain apart from to say void the season. Well, what about next season? Are we voiding that then as well? It's an open, intelligent conversation to have. I don't think football should be back until it's safe for it to come back. I'm posing the question. Borussia Dortmund have got their players back training. Back in training. And one of the quotes was, to alleviate the boredom. They've got them back. Training in pairs to alleviate the boredom. Is it right? Is it wrong? You know, you could say, is it essential? But what I would say about this is, and no club's going to admit it, I've said this a few times, the first football league to get back is going to rake in the money at a time where football clubs are losing money. If the Bundesliga comes back first, we're watching the Bundesliga. And you know you will. Are you going to sit there at home going, oh, it shouldn't be back, but I might just sit and watch Dortmund versus Bayern behind closed doors? No, you're not. Oh, no, I don't believe football should be back. I've got to go and sit in my bedroom and not watch it. If it's back, it's back. There you go. Let's have a look at this Harry Kane story anyway. But a bit of breaking news there, as I say. Look, Harry Kane, Manchester United, situation is this. He is definitely angling for a move. And we have got a call in tonight. We've got a call in tonight as well. I should have just said that. If you want to get on the call in, get into the Discord early. The link is in the video description. You can only get into our Discord through the invite link in the video description. Get in there early. Get your thought. Get in the queue, and Paul will get you ready for that. But let me talk about Harry Kane to you. So Harry Kane. We know he has basically said that if Spurs don't match my ambition, I would be looking to move. Now, the interesting thing about Harry Kane is that he's actually 27 in the summer. I've always thought of Harry Kane as being like 23, 24, but where do the years go, I suppose? So Harry Kane is going to be 27 this summer. And when you think of it like that, although he's got a contract till 2024, so another 4 years, when you think of it like that, he's got a contract till he's 27 this summer. You can see why he's starting to think, well, you know, I might want to move, because he might be one of those players that does actually want to get a move out of his club to go and win trophies. So that's step one. of course, it doesn't mean that he's definitely coming to Manchester United, but why would Harry Kane, I suppose the sentence is for you lot, would Harry Kane suit Manchester United? And of course he would. Of course he would. Would Ole Gunnar Solskjaer want Harry Kane? Yes, because I think as good as Martial's been this season, and I'm a massive, massive fan of Anthony Martial, as people know, beyond Martial, if he gets injured, who's the number 9? Well, at the moment we've got Agallo, and Agallo's doing a good job, and I think Agallo, there is a chance that he will stay. But if you're telling me, and I think Ricky said it last night, didn't he? If you're telling me you'd say no to Harry Kane, you're saying no to one of the most prolific Premier League strikers of the last 5 years. You're saying no to a striker that's going to score you 30 goals in many different ways. You're saying no to a player that in your team is probably going to make you move to at least 2 positions higher in the league. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would take Harry Kane tomorrow. If Edward would said, I'll buy you Harry Kane, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would take it. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a striker, and no matter how much work he puts into Rashford or Martial, he knows Harry Kane is the goal scorer. Harry Kane is the scorer of crappy goals. Harry Kane is a goal scorer. And that is what Solskjaer would like. And that is why he was looking at Erling Haaland as well. So, yes, I think Harry Kane would be perfect for Manchester United. Of course, people will be saying, we don't need him, he's too expensive. I agree with all these things. Do I think Harry Kane will come to Manchester United? Probably not, because it's very difficult to do a deal with Daniel Levy. It's very difficult to spend that amount of money on one player, which would probably be around, well, God knows what it would be in the current transfer market, but if the transfer market was normal, around £150 million. There's lots and lots of barriers to it, but it depends on Harry Kane and how he pushes it. Because I'll tell you one thing, Harry Kane saying, I'm going to leave Spurs if they don't match my ambition. I'm sorry to say, Harry, the current manager you've got, he ain't going to match your ambition. Mourinho is not going to win you trophies at Spurs. He is, as many Manchester United fans know, at the highest level, he ain't going to take you there. And also, that squad's not going to take you there. It's an ageing squad. It's coming towards the end. And I think Harry Kane has got a decision to make. Of course, he might be making that decision to go to Real Madrid or a Barcelona. Even a PSG might look at him. But I don't think, I don't know that Manchester United could pull that deal off. But I think if Solskjaer could, he would. And as RJ Bizzle says, Harry Kane is a proper footballer all round. I've never understood a word Harry Kane says Leslie Lai. Werner would be perfect, says Cali Brother. And Livy would also ask for 170 million, says Anish Goenka. Well, remember a couple of weeks, there was a story about Harry Kane that came out for Manchester United. And it basically said United would waste no time on a deal for Harry Kane unless Harry Kane hinted at a move. And, well, he's done that. So Harry Kane would have to say to Daniel Levy, I'm leaving and I want to go to Manchester United. I'm not getting involved in anything. But the problem then is Real Madrid come in and I think Harry Kane would go there. So yeah, I can see Kane going to Madrid, but I can also see that if United had any chance of going for him, they would go for him. And I personally think, you know what, if we did get him, that's the sort of signing that would... and also, very, very important here about Harry Kane, when we're talking about the sort of signings we want to make, leaders like Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes. Harry Kane's a leader. Harry Kane is the captain of Spurs, isn't he? So you're buying another leader as well. You're buying a world-class striker. I don't care what anybody says. United would love to sign a player like that. And of course, people would say, well, what about Martial? But Martial can play in numerous positions. Martial can compete with Harry Kane. Rashford can compete. You know, you need quality around the team. And I think that, you know, competition for places is a very good thing. Look at City. Aguero and Jesus. Well, you know, sometimes Aguero doesn't play, so it would work. It would work, and I'd be interested to see how that develops, because I think Harry Kane has definitely dropped. But maybe he'll stay for another year. I don't know. If you had a choice, who would you take, Sancho or Kane? Says Philip Chalk. For me, it's Sancho, because we need a right winger. We've got a striker. What you're doing if you buy Harry Kane is you're improving what we've got. You're improving the competition. You're improving the squad depth. What you're doing with Sancho is you're buying somebody to play in a position you haven't got anybody for. The right wing is an essential. Harry Kane or a top-class striker would be a cherry on the cake, if you know what I mean. Why would Kane come to Manchester United, says Amar? Because he'd have to. He'd have to. And Henrik says he's Harry Kane injury prone. Well, he does pick up an injury every season, to be fair. He does pick up an injury. And you could play 2 up front. Of course you could play 2 up front. Talking about strikers, some very positive news about Marcus Rashford coming out today. Marcus Rashford's been given the all clear to increase his rehabilitation fitness work. Obviously, the injury to Marcus Rashford was very, very significant. Stress factor at the back can take months and months to improve it. If you try and get back too quick, the stress fracture is there. It's got to heal. I mean, look, there's not many positives about this situation, but I think as soon as football was cancelled, we knew whenever football came back, there was a very, very high chance that Marcus Rashford would be back in the first team. Marcus Rashford was due to be back around late April anyway. We ain't going to see football before June or May, are we? So Marcus Rashford, stepping it up now. When United do get back training, Marcus Rashford will be there, and he will be a first team consideration, which also begs the question, how good will United's first 11 be? We were thinking about the Spurs game that got cancelled and whether Pogba would make the bench. The next time we do play, you're going to have, potentially on paper, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Maguire, Luke Shaw, Matic, Bruno, Pogba, Rashford, Martial, maybe Dan James. It's a much better team, isn't it? So that's exciting to see. Jowin Daniel says, if Kane was a couple of years younger and not as injury prone, maybe yes. I also fear his peak would not match the rest of our squad. World-class player and leader, no doubt, but the timing doesn't feel right. That's fair enough, isn't it? Also, Saul Niguez has been linked to us. I mean, I knew about this link this morning. I purposely didn't mention it in the show this morning because I actually, look, what do we do on the United stand? We give you the news. It's not coming from us, a lot of it. It's coming from the news. So I saw this in the Daily Mirror. Saul Niguez, Manchester United, confident of a deal. And I just think, what a load of rubbish. I really do. I've seen United linked to Saul Niguez for 4 years now. If you look, United stand, Saul Niguez transfer, I'll guarantee we did a video 4 years ago. I like Saul Niguez. Not because of the goals he scored against Liverpool. I like Saul Niguez because he's a very, very good player. But he's got some ridiculous transfer release clause. I can't remember what it is. It lasts his whole life, and I think it's about 500 million or something. That's not to say that Atletico Madrid wouldn't sell him. But Saul Niguez is going to cost you in the region of £100 million. And £100 million is not what we've got at the moment. I don't get where this Saul Niguez story is coming from. I really do like him. I just don't value it. I don't value the story. It's like saying to me we're going to sign Verratti. I'd like Verratti, but I just don't see any logic to that deal. And I don't see any logic to us signing Saul Niguez, unfortunately, which is why I didn't mention this morning, but some people said that they did. MA says Grealish apology. Yes, this is very important. Spoke about Grealish at lunchtime with the show that we did with Robbie. Make sure you check that out. And both of us were appalled by what Grealish had done. Effectively, he was out on Saturday night, went round to a house party or something, and then has abandoned his car, which is smashed into a load of other cars. He's not acknowledged what that's all about. He's not acknowledged that he was drink driving. He's not acknowledged he smashed his car up. What he has come out and basically said is that he's let himself down. He's let everybody else down. He got a phone call on Saturday night to go round to a mate's house, and he went and did it, and he shouldn't have done it. Within hours of saying stay at home on his Twitter, he's gone and done that. He's a prat. He's an absolute prat. But as I said, I believe in second chances, and many Villa fans would say to me, this is not a second chance for Grealish. He's done these stupid things before. But from what I've seen, he's done the right thing coming out. Own it. There may be a lot more he's got to own. There may be criminal offences he's got to own. But he's done the right thing coming out and owning it. And I think that we do live in a world where, we can get on people's backs a bit too much. He's made a big mistake in a time where people are very, very, very pissed off about this sort of thing. But he has come out and he has owned it. And, let it get dealt with now. I think the club will probably give him a fine. What does it mean for a move to Manchester United? To be honest with you, I'm not really thinking about that. I don't think he's done himself any favours. And I don't, at this moment in time, I do think player personality is very important. And, when we're talking about someone like Harry Kane, who appears to be a model professional. I think he's married to a woman he's known since his teens, so what? But he seems to be a level-headed, takes his football serious, not out on the piss sort of guy. Jack Grealish, does he need to grow up a bit? Do you want that sort of personality at Manchester United when we're trying to build something? Well, it doesn't matter what I think, and it doesn't matter what you think. It's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks at the end of the day, and I don't know. I think a lot of clubs might look at that now and go, maybe not. But then there'll always be a club, maybe a Mourinho at Spurs, who goes, I can tame him, I will take him. And that's football. We've seen people come out of prison for abuse, domestic abuse, and still get back into the game because they can score goals. So, never say never. But at the moment, I think he's done the right thing there. Mark, Kane's too expensive, says Zane. He's overrated, etc. I think Thomas Muller and Lewandowski are better, and think Arsenal could go for them if Aubameyang leaves. I don't think it's on Lewandowski's list of achievements to retire at Arsenal. He may as well go to Rochdale. He's a top class striker. That's not going to happen. One player I really did want to bring up, because I was reading something today, I think it was in the Manchester Evening News, and they were talking about Dwight McNeil. He is one of the players this season. We have sort of been linked to him. Plays on the wing for Burnley. I've seen him play about 3 or 4 times this season, and I've been very, very impressed with him. Left winger, and what he's basically been saying is that he's a United fan, and Ryan Giggs was his player, loves to take on players. I didn't realise. I just thought Dwight McNeil is either Irish or he's Scottish. He's English, which makes no difference to me anyway. But I didn't realise he was so young. He's only 20 years of age, and I think for a 20-year-old, a flair winger playing for Burnley, who aren't really known for that, so he knows how to graft, he knows how to work hard, he's got skills. I think United should be taking a look at him. I really do. 20 years of age, really, really good player, and his work ethic will be fantastic because of his. Whatever you say about Burnley and Sean Dyche, they know how to graft out of a situation. You can't go in that team and just do your bit. You've got to absolutely graft in there. So I just thought I'd mention that, because I think sometimes we are always driven by the media because that's what we're going to talk about. But actually we are capable, and we've done it before on this show, of talking about players and going, we should be going for them. And I'm going to start a little bit of a Dwight McNeil fan club here on the United Stand. I think that he would be a very, very good player for us. The only problem is that he's a left winger, and we've got Rashford and we've got Dan James, etc. But I think whether we could get him or not, I think that he would be a very, very, very good player. And as many people say, he was at United and he was part of our academy. But I think that, maybe that'd be a pull to bring him back, because I like him. I really do. I think he's proven himself in the Premier League, and in a youth setup, it's different. You could say Tahith Chong goes to Burnley, they sign him for 10 million. A couple of years later, you want to bring him back or whatever. I think he's proven himself, and I think he looks like a really good player. And look, I suppose the fee would be the interesting thing, but I like the look of him. United gave Borussia Dortmund free run at Bellingham for Sancho, says the initial topic. Yeah, well, this is a developing story this evening as well. We saw this last summer, didn't we? Well, we suspected it this last summer. We spoke about it on the transfer shows last summer. Remember Yuri Tielemans? A lot of us felt that Tielemans was hesitating on a Leicester move to see if anything else would better become. And a lot of people said, needing a midfielder, Tielemans would have been perfect for us. We never really made the move. Did we not make the move so Leicester could get Tielemans and we got Harry Maguire? Well, we might be seeing a similar scenario here where Jude Bellingham may be given a free run to go to Dortmund by United if we can get Sancho. Look, it's interesting. I would love both. I think Jude Bellingham at United, it would be massively exciting. 16 years of age, playing all those games in the Championship as a midfielder. This is a player for the future. And I think if he goes to Dortmund, do you ever get him at United then when he's turning it on over there? I would love United to get Bellingham. If you're asking me, let Dortmund get Bellingham so we can get Sancho, I don't know, because I think Sancho wants the move to United anyway. So why do we need to let Dortmund have Bellingham? What's that got to do with us? Bellingham's a Birmingham player. Why can't we just get both? I would like to get both. I would like to be greedy, because I think they've both got potential to be superstars of the future. Oh, of course, Sancho's got more potential because he's shown it on the top level. But you know what? This Bellingham lad looks really good. Make the 2 greatest strikers in the league played for us, Henry and Bergkamp. No one compares, and we are the biggest club in London, says Zane. And Paul Ayers says, hi Mark, my girlfriend hates the United Stand because I'm always watching and she can't understand your accent, but it's her birthday. So can you give her a birthday shout out to Gabby in Australia? Well, it obviously works both ways then, Paul, doesn't it? Because sometimes we struggle with accents that aren't our own. But happy birthday to Gabby in Australia, our biggest fan of the United stand by the sound of it. I hope you're having a good birthday, and yeah, have a good one. Definitely not getting both, says JT Music, in relation to Bellingham and Sancho. And you signed Bruno because your fans were outside Woodward's house. You aren't getting Sancho because you can't sell Pogba, says Jaws99. That's a very weird statement. We didn't sign Bruno because Woodward was people were outside Woodward's house. We were working on that deal 2 weeks before. You really need to get rid of this Harry Kane dream, says Kyle Chase. And Dortmund would want to make a big profit on Bellingham, not alone, says the Batman channel. And good evening, Mark, says Petterjewel. Last games can count for this and next season, says Jenks1102. I don't really know what you're getting at with that one. And a lot of people saying happy birthday to Gabby, which is good to see. Another bit of topical news for you. Manchester United a lot of players are sort of being rumoured to be taking pay cuts in this time of difficulty. United players apparently aren't doing that. I've heard that Barcelona players are only going to get paid 70% of their wage, and I think 30% is going to go towards the coronavirus fund or something, or maybe it's just to save money. So clubs are doing pay cuts, but at the moment United aren't doing it. I don't really have a comment on this. I know a lot of people are doing all they can to try and, make a difference. And, we've certainly seen some cracking charity work from Marcus Rashford. And I'm sure other players as well have made their contributions. I mean, look, I suppose it's a personal choice, isn't it? If you want to take a pay cut to help your football club. I mean, should a Manchester United player take a pay cut to help Manchester United out? I mean, at the end of the day, the Glazers have took enough money out of the club. Can't they give it back? I mean, is that harsh? I don't think so. What do I think about Milinkovic-Savic as Matthew Stewart? I tell you what, I sat him down this afternoon. What a stream that was. My Manchester United FIFA career mode. Make sure you check it out on Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. That was an amazing quarter-final against Lazio in the Europa League. Milinkovic-Savic did actually score in that, but he got sat down in the end. It was cracking. Absolutely cracking. It's a 70% pay cut, not 30%, says Kuzel Karaj. And so that's interesting. I don't know where the 70% is going, though. Is that going to help Barcelona out, or is it actually going towards charity? I don't know what that's to do with. I miss footballers giving money to NHS, says Christina Havarth. And hi, Mark. When do you think Bruno Fernandes will get the number 8 shirt for United? Says Thomas Hall. When Mata leaves, I suppose. I don't think Mata. Could you imagine taking Mata's shirt? It would be horrible for that to happen. So I don't think that will happen until Matteo goes. What do you think of Calvin Phillips in Leeds? Says Alan Demarage. I mean, he's been mentioned quite a lot. I don't necessarily think he's a player that United are looking at, to be honest with you. I think he's a good player. I mean, I've not seen him play loads, but I've seen him play a few times. I think he looks like a good player. I think there's a couple of things for me. One, he's playing in the Championship, and two, he plays for Leeds. It's not a deal that makes me excited. And I know people are going to say, well, you're talking about Bellingham, but Bellingham's a 16-year-old with development in him. Calvin Phillips, it just doesn't... I'm not saying he wouldn't be a good signing, I'm sure he would, but it's just not one that excites me, to be honest. Fitness Unscripted Sharath Kamath says, Ollie plays this style of football. I don't think Harry Kane will be good. We need fast and skillful players and under 25, says Fitness Unscripted Sharath. And apparently, Riff MU has just let me know something here. Let me have a look. There's apparently been a tweet out there. I don't want to mention it in case it's a load of crap, but let's have a look. So Fabrizio Romano has basically said to all the clubs who asked for Sancho, we don't change the price after coronavirus crisis and will not sell him for less than 100 million. Man United are in contact with his agent, but Dortmund have not received any official bid yet. It won't be a quick deal. I mean, look, this is pretty much what we know, isn't it? Again, it's not even breaking news. I was talking about this morning, about the unofficial part of Sancho, that... Sancho wants to come to United. I said it this morning. Sancho wants to come to United. the Dortmund want him to come to United? Are Dortmund going to lower the price realistically in relation to the final financial crisis? No, they're not. They don't need to. So it makes a deal very difficult for a club that's got debt. Sancho might not happen. That's not really a state from Romano. Of course it's not. 100 million is a good price, says Riff. It is a good price. Of course it's a good price, but it's not a good price in today's market. It was a good price 2 months ago, but it's 100 million pounds now. Could be the equivalent to 200 million pounds. So yeah, look. Anyway, let's take some of your calls. That's what Monday Night Show is all about. I'm just going to jump in. The link for the Discord is in the video description. If you get on the Discord, there's group chats, there's voice chats, 24/7. Get on there, type in or on your voice. Lots and lots of things you can do there. And let's grab a call in straight away. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. How can I help?
Hi, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm back to my call centre days there. How can I help? What do you want to talk about?
Well, basically, have you? I was going to ask you. Have you seen the video about Jack Grealish apologising for the situation that happened?
Yeah. What was your thoughts on that whole scenario?
To be honest with you, I was really disappointed because when he played against us, was it back in December or sometime like that? I saw a really good player there, and like he was doing so well, and that goal he scored was incredible, like from that angle, and it was annoying to see that someone had to do that, and like he's setting a bad example for the younger people, which was annoying, obviously, when you.
I think it's difficult. I mean, look, my opinion, I've said it, is that he really, really annoyed me because even away from football, especially because on Saturday he did a video saying stay in, and then within hours he's had a phone call from his mate and he's gone out. And look, I've got family members who are old and relatives who are old that I'm not seeing because you're not meant to do it. So for somebody to go, I'm going to go around someone's house to have a drink, it's massively irresponsible because, you know, that's how this thing is spreading. So I was really, really pissed off with it. But I think also what I would say is somebody who's a little bit older than most people is I learned about 20 years ago in my late teens when I met some footballers that you're better off judging them on the pitch than you ever are off the pitch because a lot of them are twats. Like they are. You know, it's not even their fault. A lot of these footballers, they've been in youth setups since they were kids. They've lived in a bubble. They've been told how great they are. They don't have any concept other than you're great. Whoever and that affects what their personality is, and they do. Some of them think, and I'm not saying Grealish here. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But some of them do think they're above it. They think they're superstars, and that's because they're treated like that. So I think sometimes you've just got to judge a player for what they are, which is a footballer, and not expect too much in relation to how they behave off the pitch, because a lot of them are knobheads, but it doesn't mean that we can't like them as footballers. There's some United players that I love, they're legends of the club, but I know they're idiots off the pitch, and were idiots off the pitch. So never meet your legend, never meet your heroes is a saying that I got told a while ago, and it's quite a true one. I suppose the thing is, would you still take Grealish at United now?
That's kind of a good question, to be fair, but I mean, he's a really good player, and I would love to take him. And because Aston Villa, if they're still in the relegation battle, if the season doesn't get voided, like if they get relegated, then we could get him for a good price as well. So, and I'm not just thinking about the price, but like he is a good player, and it's annoying that he did this thing, like. But I think, as a player, I would definitely take him. He's got the qualities as a leader, as a creative playmaker. He's scored loads of goals, given loads of assists. So I think I might still take him.
I can't fault you for that. I mean, yesterday I said at this moment in time I wouldn't go near him. At lunchtime I was very angry. This afternoon he's apologised. I do believe in second chances, and in 2 or 3 weeks I might just say let's go get him. We'll find out more about what's happened as well. We don't really know what's happened yet. But I do think that if we didn't go for him, somebody will. Whether that's right or wrong, football's like that. I've seen it with players, like I say, come out of prison. Some clubs go, we're not going to go near you, and others get him, and then they do well, and then it's like, well, you know, your moral high ground. football doesn't have a moral high ground a lot of the time when it comes to getting a player that might be cheap who's a good player. And there's no doubting, as recent as a couple of days ago, I was saying I prefer Grealish over Maddison. So I've got to, I can't change that opinion, because as a footballer I think I would prefer Grealish over Maddison. My only concern now is I didn't know that much about Grealish's personality, and this worries me because that is something that you bring into a dressing room and you think, is that what we want? I think for me it's one at the moment. Let's just wait and see. I personally think if Pogba stays, we probably weren't going to go for him anyway.
That's actually a very good point, because Pogba's a great player. I mean, I don't really know if he's actually like injury prone yet, because he's got quite a lot of injuries this season. Like, he's got 2, and I'm not sure if he had that many injuries before then, but
he normally picks up 1 a season, I think, with Pogba, and it's normally about a month, a hamstring or something, but it's been particularly long this year.
Yeah. So I think if Pogba does get sold, I don't think we'll get him for maybe not even over 100 million, because he does not play in games. And he's been injured for a while. He's barely done anything. I think that he's only had like 2 assists on the first day of the season, when he got 2 assists against Chelsea. He hasn't scored a goal. And then you can see when he plays, and when he came back against Newcastle and Watford, you can see the quality. You can tell he's a really good player. But you can see other players trying to get back as quick as possible. And I mean, I'm not trying to rush him back, but it's kind of hard to explain, to be honest with you. But like, you want him to at least, like push forward and like try and work hard and like get back. But that's probably not the player he is.
No, we'll have to see with Pogba. He does need consistency, and he does need to commit to the cause. I think that's really important. Thanks for opening up the call, mate, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. Please do call in again.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, that's no problem.
Really good call to open it up. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, for everyone who is calling in. If the season is called off, do you get a refund on the season ticket, says Vivek? Yeah, Manchester United came out with about that last week, and basically said that if games are played behind closed doors to finish the season, or games or the season is cancelled, you get your money back for the games that you didn't go to. I don't think they're going to be refunding you for the games you did go to. So if there's 9 games back and 5 of them at home, you'll get refunded for 5 home games. That's how that will work. Few people talking about the Sancho news. 2 things. 1, you're tuning in late, so that's if I had a register, I'd put a little mark next to your name. 2, it's not even news from Fabrizio Romano. It's basically common sense, and it's basically what Dortmund said yesterday. We spoke about it last night with Ricky and Saeed. Dortmund said they're not going to be a bargain tour place for people to get people on the cheap. They won't alter their fee for Jadon Sancho. And what Fabrizio Romano has basically said is that Dortmund won't sell him on the cheap, and that no official bid's gone in from United, but there has been contact with the agent. Well, we know all of this. This is not news. This is just clarity on what's been being discussed for 2 weeks, basically. We should be looking at Calvert-Lewin, says M. Fahim K10. It'd cost a lot of money, mate. He would cost a lot of money. Let's take another call. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi, Mark.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
What do you want to talk about?
I'd just like to talk about Solskjaer, like in general, like how is he doing in the club, I just like to talk generally about him.
Yeah, go ahead. How do you think he's doing, man?
To be honest, first I'm going to assess like the whole thing all together. So is it okay?
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah.
I'm going to, the first 3 months, right? It was very good. It actually, when those 3 months were going ahead, I felt like we finally got our United back, finally got our United back. Like just like at 3 months itself, that this Brammy were the Fergie days lah. It was like just brilliant, to be honest. But then it just crashed. I think after the PSG game, I don't know what happened. Everything went out of the window. I don't know what happened to the squad. Like they're just down tools basically.
Well, we gave him the job full time, didn't we? And then it all went wrong.
Basically, that was a stupid decision. I don't know why to be honest, I wanted him to get a job during that PSG game. After that PSG, I said he's giving a job right now. So I was basically like wanting him to get a job, but it was a terrible mistake to give him that. We should have just waited. To be honest, waited.
Yeah, I think we should have waited till the summer. But I agree. I think as fans, we wanted him to get the job. But as an owner of the club, you should never get drawn into emotion. You should look at it from a business point of view. And if they'd waited till the end of the season, we would have known whether he got top four or not. And if he hadn't, you could have said, we're not giving you the job. And if he had, you would have given him the job. So, yeah, we should have waited till the summer. What do you think about this season?
This season is a bit like haywire all, and it's a bit okay. It's okay to be honest because of Bruno Fernandes made this season, good. I think the summer signings have been quite good. Harry Maguire has been good. Wan-Bissaka, excellent. Brilliant player to be honest. Daniel James, bit of hit and miss. His final ball, like especially against the City game, I probably you watched the game, of course. You did watch along. And a few occasions, right? I think Martial did it as well, where he had that chance, Otamendi I think he skipped past Fernandinho, and then he was one-on-one basically, but then it was another defender like this in front of him. Then Bruno was there. He should just pass it to Bruno a bit, 1-0 already, but Martial redeemed himself scoring that goal. So I won't actually blame Martial, but then the second half, we had a chance again where Daniel James was running down the wing. He had a chance to play to Bruno, but it's like the decision making, football intelligence, like you say, is not there basically in the squad. Most of the players, only certain players have it, certain players, very talented players have it. Like Martial has it, Bruno has it, Pogba has it, all these players has it. But to be honest, overall the signings, I give it a 9 out of 10 to be honest, because the signings have been doing well. Like Galo as well, brilliant. Yeah.
If I said to you then, you're the chairman of Manchester United, you've got a decision to make about Solskjaer. Would you sack him and get Pochettino in, or would you stick with him for another season and see what happens?
The thing is, Poch, right? I think he plays the diamond formation. He doesn't play with wing, because I always see him managing Spurs, right? He doesn't play like wingers. So Manchester United is all about wingers when I was growing up. So I don't think it works for me, Poch. I like to see Nagelsmann because I've seen him a couple of times managing Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig. He's been brilliant actually. I like how he plays, how he manages the team. Is this like, I don't know actually, Solskjaer, to be honest, but I'll give him time a bit, to be honest, with Solskjaer.
Great call, please. Great call. Thanks for calling in, and please do call in again.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
I think you know what? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting tomorrow. Flex and Rants are doing their show tomorrow at 1:00, and I was talking to Flex about this because Rants always gets the free forum to go, this is what I think, and he'll still do it tomorrow, but it'll be very interesting with the live comments. Get at him with his Ollie stuff. Get at him, mate. Don't make it easy for Rants, is what I'm telling you on the 1:00 tomorrow. But I'll remind you tomorrow morning for the on the Man United shoes show. Is Sancho really worth 100 million? Are his statistics really an accurate representation of how good he is? Says Shazli Safal. That's an interesting one. And Mark, good points. I'd personally do a Christmas tree formation with our available squad, says Shower. And also, lots of people saying great call, which is great. Thoughts on Angel Gomez? Why is he being so badly ignored at United? Says Akshat Singh. I wish I had the answer, mate. I wish I had the answer. All I've ever been told about Angel Gomez is that he's not settled at United. He's not happy about the lack of game time, and there would have to be a big change at United's stance for him to stay. It's been odd with Angel Gomez because Tahith Chong was in exactly the same boat, but Tahith Chong was still getting game time. Also, it's without a doubt, I think Gomez has got more talent than him. So it is interesting how that has worked out. Hello, you're live on the United Stand. How can I help you again? I'm back in the call centre. What a prat.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. I'd like to talk about Grealish, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's a very hot topic at the moment. I think people have got different thoughts about it, but you can't deny it's certainly touched a nerve with people. What are your thoughts?
I think if Ollie was to bring him here, I'd like him to have like a parent, like a guardian kind of thing, for telling him not to go out to parties and get heavily, overload on the drink and stuff, so he doesn't get drunk and he doesn't go and do mad stuff, because I think that would upset the moral of the club, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that I spoke to a few Villa fans today, because obviously I live in that area and he plays for Villa, and they were saying, look, unfortunately, it's just a stark reminder that he's not learning the lessons, because he's done these things in the past, whether it's on holiday, and you've got to question. All right, there's the whole pandemic thing. You shouldn't be out. You should be self-isolating. You shouldn't be going and seeing other people. And I think that's annoyed people a lot when they are staying in themselves. But also from a football point of view, what are you doing going out getting pissed up anyway? Like, it's
exactly,
just...
Yeah.
I bet Bruno Fernandes hasn't gone out and got pissed up for about 20 years.
Exactly.
The foreign players seem to be able to deal with this really well.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with the English. Like, they just always get... Not all of them now, of course. Like, some of them, like Rashford and Finer, will stay at home and do, of course, he's doing the... he's minding children, I heard. He's giving dinners out to them and stuff.
Yeah.
But Grealish going out getting pissed off his head. Like, it's unreal. Like, it's stupid. It shouldn't be happening. Should not be happening.
Well, it's massively irresponsible. I think if you're a... Dare I say it, if you'd heard Rooney done this, and I'm not saying Rooney would ever do it. I think Rooney is obviously looking after himself and is playing at a good level. But if you were a player in your in your 30s, coming towards the end of your career, it's different to a player that's knocking on the door of an England call-up and a move to Manchester United. And
exactly,
he thinks he's had a great season. He's being talked about as one of England's hottest talents, hottest properties. And he's got it in his mind that it's a good idea to go out on the piss. I just think, like you say, some people in the live comments are saying that you can't give him a chaperone at 24, but he's behaving like he bloody well needs one. Because there's no doubt on the pitch he's a good player.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. That's why, because I was thinking to myself today, and you were saying earlier that you wouldn't really want him now because he's doing all this dangerous stuff. But I was saying, if Ollie really wants him, like he really wanted Bruno, he should sign him, and then he should say, here's your guardian for a while until we know you're mature enough to go out yourself and go to these parties and stuff and not get pissed off your face.
Also, let's be honest, he has come out and apologised in relation to... he hasn't apologised for going out and getting pissed. He's apologised for going out. But
for going out, yeah.
I think if he apologised for getting pissed, he's pretty much admitting that he was drink driving, which is going to cause him problems criminally. So he's never going to say that if he's advised well.
Yeah.
But I am somebody who believes in second chances. I've said this many a time. Unless it's something horrifically illegal they've done, I think second chances, we should live in a society like that. Who's to say? He still does come into Manchester United. He never does anything like this again. He's a model professional and he sorts himself out.
Yeah.
I can't complain about that. So, look, I'm not saying... yesterday I said never. Today I'm saying let's just wait and see. He's a prat.
Exactly, yeah.
What about... one of the other things I was going to ask, because it popped up there. Jadon Sancho, then. Do you think if United... Look, who knows what values of transfers are going to be, but I don't think Dortmund are going to suddenly knock off half his price because they don't need to.
Exactly.
£100 million for Sancho, is he worth that fee? I think we all want him, but is he worth that fee?
100%, because he's proven to be that fee, as he's done in the England squad and he's done in the Dortmund squad, going to consistently showing that he's a good talent, and he'd lead United into a Champions League place, I believe.
Yeah. Trying to think if I would come back with anything on that. I mean, the only thing for me is, in the current world, do you go and pay £100 million for a player? Morally, I think there'll be a lot of people would look at that and go, I've just lost my job, I ain't got much money, United to spend £100 million on a player. I think this deal could be very difficult because of the world we're going to live in. That's the only thing I would say. I think 2 months ago, he was worth £100 million in the current market. He was probably worth a little bit more. But, considering, was it Ousmane Dembele went for 135 to Barcelona 2 years ago?
Yeah, he went for Dortmund to Barcelona, for that price.
But we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, mate, thanks for calling in. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. See you later, Mark. Bye-bye.
Cheers, pal. Dan, you all right, mate?
Yeah, what's going on, big fella?
I'm just going to get you on in a minute. I've just got a couple of super chats to read, but I did want to grab you because I know you're over in New York, and I personally was going to ask. Well, we'll talk about it in a minute. Zayn Miasi says the English players are overrated and drunks. Gaza was the greatest English player of all time. He destroyed himself. Merson could have been a Ballon d'Or, but he was a drunk too. Well, very sweeping statement, Zayn, but it does tend to be the British players that have the problem with the drink compared to the foreign players who actually. I think it's a bit like being a go-kart racer and a Formula 1 racer. If you're a Formula 1 racer, you've got to look after your body because it's extreme. And I think foreign footballers tend to treat their bodies with respect. And this, Wenger brought that to this game. But English footballers, British footballers, some of them still think, oh, I've got a weekend off, let's go on the piss. And that doesn't seem to change. And I don't know whether it's upbringing, mates, peer pressure, whatever. But realistically, we live in such a small world now, you're never going to get away with it anyway. Fabrizio Romano has said we're in talks with his Sancho's agent, Mark, says Philip Burtonwood. Yeah, I've spoken about this about 3 times, Philip. It's not really news if you've been watching the United stand for the last 3 days, because Romano has basically come out and said what Dortmund said last night and what the Irish Independent said this morning. We're talking to Sancho's agent this morning, and yesterday Dortmund saying they're not going to take a cut fee price for him. Charlie says he's emailed me. I'll have a look at that. And welcome to Daniel Rawson, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. Thank you for everybody who has been joining as a member recently. Really helps the channel out in this difficult time. So I really appreciate it. All the support that people are giving through Super Chats and that. Right, we've got Dan on the show. Not heard from you in a while, Dan. How are you doing? And most importantly, you're over in New York, which we know is struggling with this virus. How are things?
Yeah, not good. I mean, thankfully, everybody that I know still has their health. But, it's wild out there. It's like something out of Resident Evil, man. It's like Silent Hill.
Is it like proper lockdown and all that? Or?
Oh, yeah, big time. Everyone's got their gloves on, their mask, Subways are wild. They were already wild, but now, people are basically wearing their hazmat suits and... hope everything's well with you and your family and all your loved ones and things like that. So
it's difficult times for everybody. It's weird times for everybody as well, isn't it? I think you've, as I said, the United Stand for me is it's always been escapism. I've always loved it, and I think over the last couple of weeks, it's become even more important because it's just it is escapism, and I think football's always been escapism. So yeah, well, good to hear things are going well for you, and you don't know anybody in that situation, and hopefully everybody else as well. What do you want to talk about, Dan?
Main thing on my mind is if the season does get voided and there's no football and there's a pushback of the transfer market and things like that, what is your take on our international scouting being as poor as it is with younger players, like your Babakari, Soumaris, and people like that, being that there's going to be no games for scouts to go and see? Do you think that's going to turn us internally to just getting homegrown talent, or are we going to start promoting within our own because of, players like James Garner and Aliou Traore and people like that?
Thanks, Philip Burtonwood. No worries about that. I think I spoke about this morning. I mean, one of the things about United, and I think we've spoken about this in the past because Dan's done like watch-alongs and stuff with me in the past. We have acquired a lot of young talent over the last 4 or 5 years. So at some point, that talent's got to come through. I mean, I'd throw it back to you and say what I said the other night. If the transfer market basically collapses and there is no transfer market and the season starts again and nobody's really done any business, I think that hurts Chelsea because they need a striker. I think it hurts Arsenal because they need a total renovation. I think it hurts Spurs because he needs players as well. And I think, Man City and Liverpool are going to be strong. But I look at United and yeah, we do need a right winger. But we don't need a right back, we don't need centre backs, we don't need a goalkeeper, we don't need a left back, we don't really need any midfielders if Pogba stays. We might need a striker, but we'll probably keep Ighalo anyway. And then you've got younger players coming through. Most of it just depends on how good our youth is coming forward.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just think of players like I know our scouting, apart from younger players, our scouting now, has turned to these 20-something-year-olds, kind of like your upper Mecanos and players like that. That's going to have to get put on hold because there's going to be no matches to go and scout. And you know how our scouts work. We have to scout a player for 6 months before we can move on them. So, personally, myself, I would just like to see Jimmy Garner and Aliou Traore get called up because Traore now is 19. He's about 6'1", 6'2". He kind of reminds me of a not a Pogba type because he doesn't have the passing range as him, but he does have a good stats on assists this year and things like that. And if we are looking for midfielders, I think those two. I don't think Hannibal Mejbri is ready yet, but I think those two are definitely ready. The right wing is still a concern. It's just that I think that our international scouting is really going to take a back seat this summer, and I'm kind of a little worried about that because as we've seen with Solskjaer in the past, if it's not kind of laid right in front of him, we haven't really had the what's the word I'm looking for here? We haven't had the track record of buying players abroad yet.
I said it before, and I mean, look, I think in relation to the youth team, you've probably got 10 players that could make it. None of them might, but 10 from people like Ethan Laird, who's a right back, all the way through to Traore, Garner, Levitt. There's loads of players that could make it, and hopefully three or four of them will come through. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I don't know. How likely do you think it is to do a deal for Sancho, considering these three things? One, Dortmund are clearly not going to alter the price based on a financial crash. Maybe realistically Sancho should be worth 50 million now, but Dortmund are saying we want 100. Can United spend that sort of money because they're going to lose revenue as well? Also, can they spend that sort of money in the new world we're going to come out of, where people are financially stricken? And is it morally right for a club to come and spend £100 million on a player? Sancho clearly wants to move to United. How easy is it, do you think? How likely is it that deal will get done this summer? Or do you think Sancho may have to wait a year or until January?
Well, I know you and I have spoke before about how deals kind of get done, and deals are usually being worked on throughout the season. So you'd hope that some of the paperwork has already started to get sorted out and faxed over. Hopefully Woodward's not at the fax machine on this deal, but things like the fee and wages and things like that, I'm not too massively concerned about because even amidst the coronavirus, the beginnings of it, the Glazers were still out signing a 43-year-old Tom Brady to one of the biggest contracts in football history, American football history.
Yeah.
Like I said, at 43 years old. So, it's a double-edged sword with them. You see that they do still have ambition, but is their ambition on our football club or on, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which you just hope that that's not, or at least that it's resting in both places. But I definitely still think they love to throw the money around, especially when it comes to a marquee name. It doesn't get any bigger than Tom Brady in American football. So hopefully right now in the world football doesn't get any bigger than Jadon Sancho. Really, I think he's kind of, him and Erling Haaland are 1A and 1B in terms of the name on everybody's lips. So hopefully we'll still be getting that sorted out.
I think what I would say is if United do go and sign Sancho, I think anybody who criticises Woodward, the Glazers, for not spending money would have to, in this situation, say fair play. Because I'll tell you now, that 100 million we spend on Sancho this summer, if we do it, is really 200 million in relation to the financial crash in football. The 100 million, what it was 2 months ago, is not what it will be in the summer. 100 million is way over the odds. But if Dortmund aren't going to drop the price, and there is agreements and chats going on like Dan says, I think the United I know will pull out and say we can't afford that deal because of what's gone on. But if they go ahead and do it like they did with like Tampa Bay have done with Tom Brady, then I think you've got to take your hat off to United for going and doing it. And they might do it based on what somebody said today in one of the chats, Dan, that these transfers are never paid outright anyway. It'd probably be paid over 3 years, and this financial crash, why it is a crash, it's based on something that's never happened before. This money will all come back into football. It's a pause button. People are losing money because we're pausing life. As soon as you hit the play button again, the money will gradually come back into everywhere. So United might look at it like that as a longer term thing.
Exactly, yeah, and you also got to remember that these people that have money like that, they're always sound in terms of what they are doing with their own money, especially when markets around the world are going to be coming to halts and things are going to fluctuate. You don't know how many shares they've dumped or picked up on certain things that is going to make them money, so they could cover themselves. And obviously, in times like this, rich people just seem to accumulate more of the wealth. So it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that they're actually adding to their haul while everyone else is struggling and going broke. So nothing would surprise me, especially with them.
Financial markets, you're right about that. Thanks for calling in, Dane and Dan. I've got all sorts of names on the mind. Thanks for calling in, Dan, and you stay safe, pal. And please do call in again on the next one so we can see how things are going over there.
Absolutely, you bet, Mark. Stay well. Hope your family stays well, and just keep up the good work, man. You're getting everybody through it. Trust me.
Cheers, mate. Really appreciate that, and take care. Like I say.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks to all our callers for night. Please do smash a like on the video. I've just got to shout out Zane. He has made a contribution here that a lot of people are getting very excited about. Basically, £100. He says, Mark, this donation is for the NHS, and I take my hat off for Spurs for letting them use the stadium. Come on, Arsenal, let them use the Emirates. So very, very, what's the word? Generous contribution from Zane there. For the NHS, I think what this is to do with is people are saying, "Oh, Mark is thinking what he's going to spend it on." That £100 will go straight into our charity fund, which we are working on something for you. I can't say too much about it, but I think Zane knows what's going to happen, so that will go straight into that, and we will reveal a little bit more about that later in the week. Some of you can probably put 2 and 2 together to realise what we're going to do, but that will go straight into that. So thanks very much for that, Zane. It gets us off for a starter, and we'll chuck that straight into that as soon as the fund opens, and everyone can see that went in there, as well as what we're going to chuck in as well. So thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the videos, and please do hold on a minute. We might have another call to do very, very quickly here. If George is telling the truth. Let me get back in there. The only problem I've got with this, George, is I don't know which one's which. So how am I supposed to know which one to pull in? He says that we've got an NHS doctor, but which one? I need to know which one it is I'm pulling in, or can pull it in, just so I've got them in there. Silence is always good on the United stand, but we've apparently got an NHS doctor in the calling queue, which I would like to pull in. But I don't know who it is to pull in. Obviously, it's not Paul or Dan. We're just waiting for somebody to tell me. Okay, got it. Right, let's pull him in. Hello, you live on the United stand.
Hey, mate. Hey, Mark, are you all right?
I'm good, thanks. You?
All right. Chugging along like everyone else.
So apparently you are working for the NHS at the moment, is that right?
So I do work as a doctor in the NHS, yeah.
Okay, so how is that going at the moment? What are you seeing, and how are you coping with that? Because I think everyone at the moment would applaud you and say that you are the heroes without capes at the moment in a very, very difficult time.
So that's the reason I called in. I just want to thank everybody for the support they are providing to the NHS. It's a really difficult situation for everyone. We get it, but I think for all the positive messages that all of our colleagues are receiving from everyone I just want to applaud it. You guys are applauding us, but I think even the NHS staff should be applauding you guys as well, because the amount of support we have received is amazing, truly. So in terms of how it's going, I think it's a very difficult situation for everyone staying at home. And people think it's also very difficult for someone who's working in the NHS. But the reason I called in, I wanted to say that I think all the doctors and nurses working in the NHS, I think we feel really privileged at the moment. We feel that we've got a chance to make a real difference for everyone. And we can't thank you enough for all the support we've been receiving. It is frantic. There are a lot of people coming in. We wish that the stem of people would slow down, but it's not happening, unfortunately. It continues to grow every day. But then we get a chance to help them. And I think that's what I love about the job anyway. That's what I loved before I came into the job. And I think at this point of time, I'd just like to tell everyone that all of our staff, we're working the best we can. The morale is difficult, but I think the morale among all the NHS staff at the moment is quite high. There are some teething issues that's going on, but we try to do our best. We try to help our fellow countrymen. And I think all of us will come out of this smiling and hopefully in a better shape.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I can't compare to this. I've said before that when I was in the police, I worked on the riots, and it's sometimes difficult because all you want to do is your job, and then it can become a bit of a political animal as well. And we know the NHS is a political ball at the moment because it's the only thing that's preventing chaos. So you do sort of inadvertently become part of that, but I think that the way we've dealt with it in this country, even the clapping at 8 o'clock, hopefully that's not too difficult having to be mentioned every single day, because that's all everybody is ever talking about, and hopefully we can keep that positivity not just for now but in the future, because this job you're doing now isn't for now, it's always been this way. I think it's, one of the positives from this horrible thing is the amount of respect and gratitude that you are getting, because it's all this is your job, this is what you do. And I've spoken to people who've said, look, they're amazing what they're doing, but I doubt many of you think that you are, because you're just doing the job that you want to do.
In a way, it's true actually, because I think we're just doing the job we always did, and so it's similar to us. I know the context is different, but the job we are putting in is just like daily stuff for us. But then the whole anxiety and everything surrounding it is understandable. But I think given how busy NHS is anyway, I think we health staff are actually well prepared for what's going to hit us. Hopefully it doesn't get as bad as everyone think it will. But I think even if it does, I think we've actually, the way we've been trained and the way we've been working throughout our career, I think we'll be able to bear the brunt of it, and hopefully we can help everyone and we can actually get out of this situation quite quickly. In terms of saying that, in terms of appreciation, I think yes, it is. I think the NHS has been brought into spotlight much more than usual. So I think people are appreciating it more. But I think in terms of looking at it, I think if there was any positive turn that you could give to the whole coronavirus epidemic, it could be that I think it's brought the whole country together.
Yeah.
It's made everyone realize what a great resource NHS is and how proud we should be of our health system. And I think this is the way we should look at it. I think I've got both perspectives. I had to isolate for a couple of days because one of my flatmates had developed symptoms. And then I sat in my room doing nothing for 2 days. And I think those were the two most difficult days throughout the whole recent months. But on the other hand, when I go to work, I never feel that I'm doing anything different. I just do my job, just try to help people as it is. And I think that's easier for me than sitting at home and getting surrounded by the news. And I think what we tend to do is we tend to focus more on the negative than the positive, and it's perfectly understandable. Anxiety right now, when you can't do your normal work, when you just keep on going to Google and keep on looking for the death toll and the number of new infections. But I think what we have to try at this point is try to focus on some positive as well. The way our country has gotten together, the way everyone is trying to help each other. I think 400, 500,000 people volunteering to come and help the NHS. I mean, I think it's unheard of. I think our country can actually be a role model of how every other country could approach the issue. And there's no reason why we cannot maintain this unity after the whole coronavirus epidemic. So I think this is the way we should be looking at this episode. We should trust the NHS to be able to deal with it. But even after the episode is gone, why can we not maintain the whole harmony that we have in our society at the moment? And that's the way I try to look at it, so that I can maintain the positive spin. Because what I feel at the moment is staying at home is much more difficult than going to the front line and working, because I've always been used to it. But when I had to stay in my room for 2 days, when I had to self-isolate, that was the most difficult situation I had. So in some way, I feel I'm lucky that I can still do my job. I can still continue with what I'm doing from now, whereas other people whose livelihood are threatened, who don't know what to do, I think, and they're full of anxiety, depression, I think that's the more difficult part. So we colleagues at NHS, I think we are very thankful for how the public is supporting us. We hope that we can justify our faith, and we hope that we can come out of it together, really. And that's the positive I wanted to give it to you guys.
No, I really appreciate that, and it's great to see all the love in the comments. Smash a like on the video, everybody. I think it's fantastic. But I don't know whether you can answer this from what you're seeing, from your medical experience, from what you're hearing. What sort do you? I mean, we're a football channel. I presume that's why you've called in as well. When do you sort of predict that we might be in a position to sort of bring football back, whether it's behind closed doors or not? It's not the be all and end all for me, but we are a football channel. Some people are saying 6 months, some people are saying 18 months, some people, Dortmund, as I said, they're training today in pairs. There's talk of a tournament maybe in July. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm an avid football fan myself. I've been watching your shows for 2 years now, so there's nothing much more I would like than for the football to be back. But I think at this point of time, it's very difficult to say which way this is going. People are saying that the whole epidemic is slowing down, but looking at the number of admissions we're having, looking at the number of people we're admitting in ICU every day, it's difficult to say when the whole thing is going to come down, really.
Yeah.
The only thing that concerns me at the moment is some people still don't seem to take it seriously. They go about, they take it as a bank holiday. That's the only thing that concerns me in terms of if we'll be able to stem the flow of this anytime soon. But to be honest, I don't think any football is going to come back before 3 months or so. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it comes back earlier. But at this point, I think saving lives is what we should be thinking about. And hopefully football follows soon. But it's difficult to say, really, at this point. Maybe 3 to 4 months, hopefully, at the quickest.
Okay, well look, I'm really glad we got you on at the end. I'd love you to come back on more regularly so you can give us a bit of an update and actually talk to us about football. But I really appreciate you coming on, and it's great to see all the love, and we're sending it to you and all your staff and colleagues. So please send it to them, because the gratitude is valuable, and it's 100% sincere. People are really in awe of what you lot are doing at this moment in time.
Thank you guys. I cannot thank you enough. Let's hope all of us will get together safely and out of this, hopefully. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for calling in. Thank you very much. It was worth going back for that. Thanks to George and Paul and all the mods for telling me to do that, because call of the night, real life, and really humbling as it is, because they're just doing fantastic work. Simple as that. And Sibs was his name, probably not his real name, but that's what he's called in there. So thanks to Sibs for coming on. Thanks to all you lot. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. We're back in the morning at around 10:30, 10 o'clock with the Man United news daily, and then Flex and Rant show is live at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then I'll be live again at 8 o'clock tomorrow night as well. So thanks everyone, really enjoyed it. Monday night call-in. If you want to get involved in that, familiarise yourself with the Discord link in the video description. You can only get in through that invite link, which is only valid for about 24 hours. So get in there, get accustomed to the voice calls, the little chat groups. They're open 24/7. So thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon.